Eyup, now that Chris Wilder is officially at the job centre, we will have a look at Sheffield United next season, the potential that they've got. Could they get promoted? Could they go on further? Or will they finish 18th where they belong? Now, there's a lot that has happened or is surrounding this club. There's a lot going on. Obviously, Chris Wilder being sacked is the main attraction at the minute. This is something that's been brewing for ages. It's apparently because whoever the consortium is at Sheffield United, some of them wanted to keep him, some of them didn't. But if that was the general consensus of the people that own Sheffield United, why would they give him a 3.5-year contract or whatever it were in January to then have to pay him out an extra £1 million in compensation now when they've sacked him? It made no sense. That I think this is so obvious that it's to do with the data model that these Sheffield United owners want to do and using AI and a heavy database model to bring in players, whereas Wilder, a proper bloke, isn't he? He's not going to want to adapt to something like that. And I know that's reported to be not true, but obviously they're obviously going to come out and say that it's not true, aren't they? I'm not bothered what anybody says. That must play a massive part into why Sheffield United have sacked a manager that's just got them 92 points this season in league. And I've said this before, if you want to look at the surface level of football, which is that Sheffield United have come down, they wanted favourites to go up with parachute payment money, and they've not done it, then that's fine. But I think that's just such a short-sighted way of looking at what Sheffield United have gone through the last couple of years. They started on a -2 for not paying bills on time, so they've accumulated 92 points this season. 100 points for second place is never in a million years the benchmark for a normal season. 92 points, or even 90, in the majority of seasons throughout history, would get you second at least. Sheffield United in a normal season would have got promoted with flying colours. I know it's all if, buts and maybes, but if he replicated that points tally this season again, which I think it would very doable, I'd have said Sheffield United were in every favourite to go up. I can understand the thought process in Wilder is obviously very, very crap the more money that he's got. He's got a very poor track record of spending money, especially at Sheffield United when they got to Premier League, and the money that they spent, they just absolutely spaffed loads of it up wall, like Brewster and McBurney, players that just were never good enough for the amount of money that they spent. He's better in rebuild seasons, but I think people are getting confused as to what this season's going to be for Sheffield United. This is going to be another rebuild when you look at the amount of players that they've lost already, because they had a massive amount of loans, really. The squad were full of loans to compact the bench and everything. And they're going to lose probably 2 or 3 at least of the best players. This is going to be another transitional period for him. And we'll look at outgoings in a minute. But he brought in Cooper for, £2 million, one of the best keepers in the league, English, young. Burrows, again, I think it will max £5 million for both of them, 2 players combined. You're now looking at one of the best left-backs in division, and arguably now that Burnley got promoted, arguably the best keeper in division as well. He had to deal with Albaster getting an ACL injury and not playing. He had to bring Peck through. Peck's only got the chances that he has because of Albaster getting injured. And now you've got Premier League sides looking at Peck. Like, the development that he has done on some of these players is very good. Campbell, I've never rated in my entire life, and then he's coming to here, and when he's been fit at Sheffield United, he's looked like chuffing R9. Callum O'Hare's a fairy, but he's done alright as well. He got a defence with Robinson stood in it to 92 points to a playoff final with 36 goals conceded, and that's it all season, with chuffing Robinson in defence. I think it's wrong decision, personally, but it's been and gone now. There's no point looking at like what could have been, is there? We might as well just look at future now for Sheffield United and what it holds. And this is no slight to Ruben Sellers, who looks like dead cert to get a job. He might have got it by the time I posted this. Ruben Sellers is a good manager. He did very good at Reading under massive constraints. He did same at all with a lot of his players injured, and Hull looked fairly doomed, to be honest. Defensively, they were shit, and he come and changed them around massively. Obviously, he got sacked because that's what Hull do. They have a decent manager and get rid of him. But is Ruben Sellers a better manager for Sheffield United right now than Wilder is? Absolutely not. Like, never in a million years. Obviously, you can look at this in a year's time, and if Sheffield United have got promoted, come back and say, absolute genius, what a decision. But I think, just on surface of it right now, I would fancy Sheffield United much more to go up, or to finish in top 6 at least, with Wilder than I would with Ruben Sellers. I'd have said it would borderline a guarantee that they get playoffs at least with Wilder. With Sellers, I'm not so sure. But we've got to look at the players that they're going to lose, because there are a lot of them. Sheffield United, obviously coming down with the parachute payments. They had to change effectively a full squad, coming down as one of the worst sides ever. You're never going to be near top of Championship with squad that they come down with. So they're very, very front-footed with loans. They're not shy in spending a decent bit of brass on a loan. And when you look at the ones that they brought in, Alfie Gilchrist, Ben Brereton Diaz, Harry Suter, Raksaki, Chowdhury, Harry Clark, and Rob Holding's further down than he's going to show you now. That's a lot. It's a lot of money for a start on wages. But it's a lot of very experienced players that are comfortably some of the best players in this league. At the same time, the players that they've actually loaned these clubs from, you're looking at Ipswich for one, Leicester, they've got a couple, they've got some from Southampton. These are lads that have just got relegated, and they're not good enough for them. Obviously, looking at these loans this season, none of these were real massive standouts. I think Suter were probably the best player that they had on loan out of all these, who got injured and had to go back in January. Maybe if they'd have kept him all season, it'd have been a different story. If it were Suter and Anel Dave, that's much more appealing than having Robinson in it. And obviously this is at different stages of season because some had to go back and some were brought in January. But that's 7 players that played quite a big part in Sheffield United's season that have now all gone back. Obviously they could bring some of these back in summer. And I would assume that they probably will with a couple of them. Some of the cheaper options, that is. Chowdhury played quite a big part. He's the only Sheffield United loanee that started in playoff final. They obviously had some come off bench as well, but Chowdhury is the only one that started in right back for him. He played 25 times for him. Leicester are not going to be that bothered about keeping him. I wouldn't have thought at the age that he is, and he's going to be on a decent wage as well for Premier League money. I think Leicester would be open to a deal there for, it might be like £5 million, whatever his market value is. It might be about £5 million for something like this. That's just a prediction though. Leicester coming down and having a points deduction and all this, they might want to keep some of these players that they don't have to spend any money on. So who knows truly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go and get him back. It's a free hit really, and he's quite a good player. He's one of the better ones that they had along with Suter. Ben Brereton Diaz, he's just not the same player that he was. Is he really? He's got what, 4 goals, 3 assists in 31 games. He's 26. When they had him in Premier League on loan, it looked like the only saving grace that Sheffield United had really. I know they still went down like comfortably, but Ben Brereton Diaz offered something a little bit different. He's not been anywhere near same player that he was this season in Championship. I feel like he's just fallen down pecking order quite fast to the point where I don't think they'll go back in for him. And he's also not good enough for Southampton. He might have to go back abroad again, Ben Brereton Diaz, because I think his time in this league near top end is probably done. It moves quite fast football. The level is constantly getting better. It's always improving. You're looking at Leeds and Burnley that have both got 100 points this season. The standard at top end and what's required is very, very high. And Ben Brereton Diaz just does not fit that bill anymore. So I don't think he'll be coming back. But to add to the 7 players that they've already lost, you're going to have a lot of interest in some of the star boys that Sheffield United have got. And they've got a few. I think Sheffield United's squad is a mix of very, very good players and some extremely mediocre ones, and there's not really much in between, I wouldn't say, from outside looking in. Going back to front with current squad, Cooper is going to be a player of interest. He's English, he's 25, he's a goalkeeper, he's one of, if not best keeper in the league now that Trafford has gone. Market value £9 million. There's obvious interest from Everton. Apparently Everton wanted him to come and do his job as a backup, but Cooper's not going to leave Sheffield United unless it's to start in Premier League. That is the only requirement there is for Cooper to leave Sheffield United. Sheffield United don't have to sell him for a start. They're going to make money in big sales anyway. They've got parachute payments, new owners are minted. So they've got no reason to sell a bloke that's been here for 1 year on a long contract and is a very young keeper and topper his bracket for what he is. So I can't see him leaving, but maybe if Trafford is to be bought by Newcastle, for example, you could see Burnley going in for him. Maybe Leeds might fancy it. But you're going to have to pay well over odds. If his market value is £9 million, I reckon you're pushing 15 at very, very least for Cooper. So I can't see it happening, but there is going to be obvious interest there in him. Burrows is another one. Again, a player that's only been here for, 1 year, 47 appearances this year, 22 clean sheets. He's played nearly 4,000 minutes. Another one that's going to be on a long contract, very good for his age, English again. There's just no reason for these to be sold unless humongous bids come in. So I'm touching on them because they are the better players. But I don't think these boys will be leaving Sheffield United. This is where it starts to get to a point where you probably will. Anel Dave, I don't think they'll be getting even remotely close to the £17 million market value that he's got. 41 games, 18 clean sheets again. He's 26. It feels like he's been about forever at Sheffield United. Good ball playing centre half. I've seen Turkish sides looking at him like quite heavily. Some Italian sides as well. I don't think he'd cut it in Premier League, personally. I think he's a little bit too slack, too lightweight for what I would like in a centre half, that is. He's a good ball playing defender, but from outside looking in, and Sheffield United fans could tell me if I'm wrong here, it does look like he could get bullied a little bit too easy with some physical lads. In this league, he's very good, but for step up, which is what it's going to take, if someone's going to buy these, it's not going to be any Championship side that's going to come down and nick any of Sheffield United's players. Is he good enough at Premier League? I wouldn't have thought so, but I think he'll get a move regardless. He's definitely going to leave, this lad. But at the same time, even though I've just said he's a top Championship centre half, I don't think he's going to be that much of a miss. Personally, I think they'd happily let him go if it meant keeping some other lads further up pitch, or keeping a Burrows, for example. I think they'd rather let Anel Dave go than some of these other players. This is another glaringly obvious one to me. There is no way that Sousa stays in Championship this year. I think Hamer and maybe Cooper are better by the position than Sousa is, but Sousa, the build on that bloke fits every league in the world. He is massive, he's physical, he's aggressive. He wins ball back so much. He wins that ball back so much. 14 million quid market value, 37 appearances. Like, his goals and assists, he doesn't do anything really. But he's just a juggernaut at middle of pitch. And you know what it's like? It's like Sander Berge when he got that move to Burnley at time and now he's at Fulham. If you put Sousa and Berge at midfield, I would not want to be playing against that. I'll tell you that. Two absolute giants, massive long legs. No, I'm not fancying that one. I saw Monaco are interested at some at Turkish sides again, but I put Fulham there as a medium one because I saw that they went for him in January, or they were very likely to go in for him in January. There's going to be a few Premier League sides looking at him, definitely. I just don't think it's possible for him to keep him, and Sheffield United fans know that anyway. Same as Anil Dave. You're sort of clinging on to hope with some other players, but it's almost a given fact that Sousa's going to leave as well. This is quite an interesting one, but Sidi Peck has West Ham interest. I don't know how real it is, and his market value is 7 million quid. He might end up going for something like 10 with add-ons and a sell-on and all that jazz because he's only 20. Again, English. Their academy is very good, Sheffield United's is. But going back to it, Peck would not have got anywhere near the amount of game time that he has done this season if Arblaster wouldn't have got injured. They've got Arblaster waiting at wings who's going to come in like a new signing anyway. If they can get a big sale for Peck, I would seriously consider that because he might not get a look in next season anyway. If Arblaster comes back in, obviously Sousa's going to leave, but if Arblaster comes back in, they replace Sousa with someone who's going to come in and start, Peck's demoted to bench again. If they can get a big sale for Peck with add-ons and all that included, which might then deter someone like Hamer going, for example, that is something that they should seriously be considering. And it's all 100% profit as well. Like I said, Sheffield United's academy is very, very good. The 23s especially, I'm a Barnsley fan, so I keep track on our like 18s and 23s. Barnsley's 18s are really good. They win their league quite often. But our 23s can't even get close to Sheffield United's. Sheffield United's 23s win league effectively every year for their age. They've got best academy in South Yorkshire by a mile. They pick up effectively all the half-decent English lads that are from round here. It's a constant supply of money that you can just sell on all these lads that cost you note in first place. They're sales that you need to be making to then comply with PSR as well if you are to get to Premier League again. You've got to be making them sort of sales. I think this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it's only here saying it if West Ham are actually interested or if anybody else is, and fee. But if they can get £10 million for Sidi Peck, I would seriously be considering that. Again, though, I'm not actually convinced he will move. I think they'd want him as squad depth, and I think he's a Sheffield United fan, so he's not going to want to leave, is he? I don't think he'd leave. And then the obvious one, Hamer. Now, a lot of Sheffield United fans are telling me that they're absolutely convinced that he won't leave. Like, sources, boys, come on, we've got people all over the place these days. Apparently, he's not going to leave. I won't believe that until someone is sat there ringing bell on transfer deadline day. I will not believe it. I don't think he's going to be one that leaves quite early. I don't think he's going to leave it next couple of weeks, for example. But Leeds will not let this go. They will not let this go. There's a lot of other sides. You might get some Bundesliga sides or someone that fancy him. They will not let this go. I think Hamer could be one that leaves very late on, like seasonal start. He might play it like first game or whatever it is, score or something. He might have like a stellar performance first game, and then you'll have something like Leeds or Burnley or somebody looking at him thinking, why don't we just go and get this guy? Like, he's a freak. He's one of the most technically gifted footballers in Championship. Easily. And yeah, I keep saying this, but he looks like a little meatball, but he can shift. Like, you've got to watch what he eats, and he has like a special diet, I think, at Sheffield United, from what I've been told before. Just making sure they don't go to like Mackey's after training or something. My kind of guy, this Hamer bloke, I like him. He's very, very good. And I think if Sheffield United do manage to keep him, regardless of who manager is, you've got probably the best player in the league anyway. So it wouldn't matter that much, the Wilder silly situation. But I think also the fact that Wilder's been sacked could sway Hamer a little bit. Some of these players might have thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to stay. I believe in what we're doing here at Sheffield United. I believe we got 92 points this season. We can do it again with the same group of players, same manager, same everything. We can do it again and we'll go one further this time and go up. I feel like Wilder being sacked might have tweaked a lot of these players, you know. I think they might have had their head turned a little bit by that news and having a different manager in who they might not get on with, who might play them in different positions, might change all the training, change everything that they like about place that they're currently at. That might have been someone that could have kept them there, Wilder, which is now gone. I personally cannot see him staying. Like, if they do manage to keep him, it'll be huge for Sheffield United. It's best signing they can make all window. But I can't see him staying from outside in. Which would mean if Anil, Dave, Sousa and Hamer are to leave, and they're the only ones that I've got leaving. So I'd say Peck stays, Burrow stays, Cooper stays, but the big three really at Sheffield United all leave. This is what I see the lineup looking like. There's none of that going on. This is what I see as starters, by the way. Like, obviously, they've got, like, Brooks and them type of players that are on bench. But players that Sheffield United could realistically start next season. And I'm being kind to Robinson there because I think he's crap. But you've got 7 loans that have been and gone. Obviously, Hamer, Sousa, Reynolds, Dave all gone. They're going to have a lot of money to bring players in, aren't they? It makes me laugh when people look at some Premier League sides. You know, sides going up to Premier League, like Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland. They'll look at Brentford, for example. They're going to lose Mbuemo and Vissa. Yeah, we're going to catch them. As if they're then going to play with 9 players. Like, you're obviously going to have a lot of money to reinvest into these positions, and it'd need it and all. Because if they're your current starters, that is such a small, lightweight team, especially at middle at Park. If they sell Sousa, I know you've obviously got Peck and Arblaster, they need to bring some big fella in, because Sousa did a lot of dirty work, and Peck's not shy, neither is Arblaster. Neither of them 3 are shy, but they're all very small in size and stature. You're going to get ragdolled. If they play someone like Coventry, they'd get bullied off pitch. Obviously, the defence would need to change a lot. They could have Chowdhury back in at right back. I think they need new wingers. They obviously need depth up front because Moore's not good enough, realistically. I mean, nice little layoff at assist for Sunderland, like. But Campbell can't last more than an hour. And then if you've got Moore coming on as your backup, it's not enough firepower going up front. You need decent wingers in. And they will spend, obviously. I wouldn't know where to look realistically because they keep scouting Bulgarian league. So there's no point me looking at bottom end at Championship or top League One players for him to go and get, because they'll go and get Sniggle Biggle or somebody that we've never heard of in his lives that's going to go and start on wing for him with this AI model that they've got, which is the reason Sheffield United and Chris Wilder have parted ways, by the way. I won't hear differently. Chris Wilder would want somebody like Dunn from Barnsley. You know what they're like. You've seen him in flesh. Good lad, all that vibe. Whereas Sheffield United's hierarchy are wanting to go for Bulgarian and Hungarian and like Jungarian, all these boys, they want to go and get them for cheap to sell them on like a Brighton model on a lesser scale. So there's no point looking at potential incomings because we'll never have heard of any of them. And I don't worry about Sheffield United to the point where they're going to slide down massively like relegation battle vibes. But I won't say it's a given to get top 6, whereas I would have done with Wilder. If this is the shell of the team, obviously they're going to go and get some big loans again. They're going to spend 30+ million quid, you'd think, with some big sales that they get for like a Sousa or an Hamer. They're going to get a lot of money in. They're going to spend a lot of money as well. But so is everybody else, especially at top end. You've got Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester coming down, all with more complete squads than that of Sheffield United, who probably won't lose many star players, because when you're getting relegated for Premier League, your better players have already gone. Delap, for example, is already out of there. Southampton have got no worth selling. Leicester might lose and Diddy, but that's roughly it. Ipswich I can't see losing out else. They've all got much more complete squads than Sheffield United, and same, if not more, money. Wrexham coming up will have a lot to say. Same as Birmingham. Birmingham's squad on surface of it is better than this that Sheffield United have got, the shell that's there, and they've got money as well. You've obviously got Coventry, Middlesbrough, West Brom, Millwall. Like, there's a lot of good sides in this division at top end that are going to spend money, that have got decent squads as well. They just better hope this data model works, because they need to find some gems if they're going through that route. It's alright saying before, they brought in these 2 Bulgarian wingers and that are playing it under 23s. They cost £1 million between them, something like that are free hits. And that's fine, you can afford to do that in background if your starting 11's good enough. They cannot afford to go straight down this route, to put them straight into team, because if that don't work, your parachute money only lasts so long. You've got 3 seasons worth, they're going into the second one. If they don't go up this season, you're just further and further away from sides that are constantly bouncing around, like a Leeds or a Burnley, for example. Sheffield United will just fall away from that pack quite quickly if they don't get this summer transfer window right. There's no point looking at where they could realistically finish next season so far. But just for a laugh, I will. I think they've been narrowly outside at playoffs just based on players that they could lose, obviously the amount of loans that they've lost, but they're gonna just get the same amount of lads in, aren't they? It's just gonna be a complete cycle of 7 loans gone, 7 loans back in, the never-ending cycle of that. So they can pack the squad out quite easily. The shell of players that they've still got is top half standard at least still. They're obviously going to spend a lot of money on players coming in. I do worry about the model that they're going for though, and whether they'd fit straight in, whether they'd hit ground running, which they'd need to do in this league. It's physical, it's fast, but that's the area that I worry about them, is the players coming in. This is a side that weren't good enough last season. I know I said at the start, and I stand by it, that 92 points, or even 90 after you took the -2 off, is not the normal standard for 3rd place. That would get you promoted automatically in majority of seasons throughout history. But factually, it's a side that weren't good enough. Losing Hamer, potentially losing Sousa, losing Anel Dave, you can't replace them with players that are better than them. So you're going to be worse in an harder league with a side that weren't good enough anyway in the first place. I think I don't know, I think it might just be too much to ask at the minute. I could see them being in and around a playoff race, but I think they'll fall away from what would be an automatic promotion one, personally. But that's it, boys. Love you all. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you do enjoy. No 18th place this season. I've learnt my lesson. for now. Thanks as always, boys. See you in a bit. Goodbye, you Reds.
Say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.